This is Alaska. How amazing is this? It took us maybe 20 minutes to hike here from the trailhead, one of the easiest hikes I've ever taken. And watch this. The view from the other side in the other direction is just as good. There are at least 4 or 5 glaciers that we can see right here. It is amazing. And this is just one tiny slice of Alaska. This whole state, from what I've seen so far, is just incredible. And there are scenes that are better than the last one you've seen at every turn. It's unbelievable.
In actuality, I stopped by this spot on my last day in Alaska, headed back to the airport in Anchorage. I spent the previous week with my niece Heather and her husband Jeff. They have been in Alaska since early June and plan on traveling around the state through the end of August. What happened here is one of the most special things about the state, they say. You can simply happen upon a place, and it can turn out to be a site that in another location would be a prime destination. Here, it's just normal. We stopped at a visitor center just outside of Whittier. That's where we learned about this particular hike. There were many hikes in the area, but the one we selected could be completed in just a short period of time that we had. Our expectations weren't really high, but the payoff for minimal effort was magnificent.
How indicative of Alaska is this in terms of just happening upon a place that you've never heard of and it turns out to be something like this?
I'd say it happens pretty often.
When I thought about Alaska before this trip, this is the kind of thing I thought of. So it's pretty amazing.
And Alaska has delivered.
The Alaska journey is the pinnacle of Heather and Jeff's year-long trip in their Bigfoot RV. They have traveled through many parts of the state already, but there is much more to see. The view can be astounding as they make their way over the highways, going from place to place. They have the luxury of time, so if they see something they really like or are taken with a particular region, they can extend their stay. There is always a desire to see wildlife, but sometimes on the road, the encounters can be a little too close.
Where?
Left or right? On the right, on the right, on the right, on the right.
Heather and Jeff love the way of life, staying full-time in an RV. It's not for everyone. When you arrive at a new campground, there is a whole procedure that must be followed to make the time there safe and comfortable. Even if there's heavy rain, things must be done. For the record, I offered to help, but each of them know their own responsibilities and know just how each task must be accomplished. I figured the best use of my time was to grab a few clips of what they were doing.
This is the real side of RV travel. This is what nobody ever shows you. They always show you the nice, sunny days, but you have a lot of these days too.
It's not as pleasant as usual, but it wasn't terrible. The pedal made it a little bit more difficult than it would have been otherwise, but we're good.
Yeah, the setup in the rain was pretty miserable. It was raining hard, somewhat muddy. Wasn't fun, but you know what? That's just part of it. You just got to roll with it.
I was in Alaska for a week. We tried to pack as much as possible into that period of time. I tried not to disrupt Heather and Jeff's routine too much. We took a couple of tours out on the water in different parts of the Kenai Peninsula. We found some wildlife, both out in nature and in a center which was set up to allow you to see native species closer than would ordinarily be possible. We did a little hiking. We learned a little history. We sampled some local beer. That was at my insistence. I grabbed as much of the Alaska experience as possible in a short time. Heather and Jeff have been able to immerse themselves into the state so much more completely.
It's spectacular. I mean, everywhere you look, there's beauty. It's very varied, I guess, is how I would put it. There are places that seem, there's coastal regions like this that are with mountains and all that. And then there are the interior regions that are also beautiful, but very different. It's a great place.
Alaska is incredible. Certainly want to spend some more time here. I see us spending the summer here and then wanting more.
Getting back to this spot, this is Byron Glacier that you see way up there. This is just outside of Whittier and near another bigger glacier called Portage Glacier. So this is a wonderful place to come if you want to experience glacier life. This is just one of those sites that I have seen on my Alaska journey. We're going to go to Homer. We're going to go to Seward. There are experiences in each of those places that you're going to want to see. Those come out over the next couple of weeks. First will come Homer, then will come Seward. You don't want to miss it.
There's plenty to talk about in the next video. I'll go out on the water in Kachemak Bay. There will be a little time in the town of Seldovia. I'll experience the fishing industry, which draws many people to the region. And I'll check out the famous Homer Spit. I can't wait for you to see all of that. For even more content from Alaska and other locations through the US and Canada, subscribe to Heather and Jeff's channel. It's Alaska Ram Travel Adventures on YouTube. There's also a blog at alaskaramtraveladventures.com.